This is a forbidden secret. What you are about to hear, my dear brother, my dear sister, is not for the faint of heart, nor for those content with the status quo. I need you to stop everything right now. Silence the clamor of the world, quiet the endless thoughts, and put an end to the mindless scrolling. Because in the next few moments, I am going to reveal a truth so profound, so ancient, yet so fiercely protected, that it may be the very last time in your entire life you ever have to lower your head, send a plea, or make a desperate call to anyone asking for a single dollar. I am not exaggerating the power of this moment. I'm speaking of a radical transformation, not just of your bank account, but of your very being, beginning with the precise words that exit your mouth in the first 30 seconds of a brand new day. Think back just for a moment to the last time you were forced to borrow money. Recall that suffocating knot in your stomach, the frantic pounding in your chest, the tremor in your hands as you typed and deleted that humiliating message over and over, searching for the right words to soften the blow. Remember that helpless sigh, a silent admission of defeat just before you hit send. That feeling of profound shame, the question echoing in your mind, why am I in this situation again? That exact sigh, that crushing 30 seconds of self-doubt, could have been completely redefined. It could have been the precise moment you spoke an ancient, powerful prayer, a 3-sentence decree with the power to slam shut the door of endless debt and fling open the floodgates of abundance, unexpected provision, and truly miraculous breakthroughs. The world often tells you financial struggle is a sign of your inability. I am here to tell you, it's a sign of a pattern you can and will break. The most astonishing part of this is its incredible simplicity. This prayer, this divine command, is so unbelievably short that you could speak it fully, completely, in the exact time it takes for you to take one anxious, deep breath before you even consider asking to borrow money. Just 3 sentences, no elaborate rituals, no flickering candles, no lifelong vows that bind you. You don't need to fast for days, understand complex mystical concepts, or spend years in spiritual study. It is simply 3 lines, spoken with intention, at the right moment of the day, repeated consistently. This tiny shift holds the power to transform your entire relationship with money, reshaping it from the deepest layers of your mind and soul, from the very core of your energetic being. Consider the millions trapped in cycles of micro-lending or credit card debt, often just surviving paycheck to paycheck. This isn't about just having more money. It's about altering the internal landscape that attracts money. If starting today, you learn this prayer and choose to practice it every single morning, before you even touch your phone, before you glance at that discouraging bank balance, before the paralyzing fear of not having enough to survive the month even has a chance to rise, then I can tell you with everything I have witnessed, the very flow of provision in the universe will begin shifting irrevocably towards you. And when I speak of provision, I don't mean passively sitting still, waiting for money to magically fall from the sky. I'm talking about tangible, undeniable opportunities, doors opening in ways you couldn't possibly predict, a forgotten customer calling unexpectedly with a new order, a perfectly timed side job appearing that perfectly matches your skills, a collaboration opportunity no one had ever mentioned before, a single phone call that can turn your entire financial situation around. This isn't just theory. It's an observable pattern among those who unlock this ancient wisdom. It's about becoming a magnet for opportunity rather than a victim of circumstance, a powerful shift from reactive scarcity to proactive abundance. Imagine waking up each morning, not as someone burdened by the thought, "Today I'm short again. Today I have to struggle just to survive," but as someone who rises with power, confidently declaring, Today I am a channel of abundant provision. The universe conspires for my financial well-being. Picture those torturous 3 a.m. nights, once consumed by worry and anxiety, over bills, slowly but surely disappearing. No more avoiding people out of embarrassment. No more lying awake, wondering, whom will I borrow from this time? What elaborate excuse can I concoct so it doesn't sound humiliating? I want you to hear this truth with absolute clarity deep in your spirit. That destructive cycle, that invisible prison of debt and shame, can end right here at this very moment if you dare to choose it. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now. I speak with this conviction because I don't just study abstract theories. I have personally witnessed the transformation of ordinary people, hard-working laborers, single parents, juggling multiple jobs, diligent office workers, resilient small shop owners, individuals who once had to borrow $500, $300, no, even just $100 every single month to cover rent, school fees, electricity, and water. They lived under the crushing weight of shame, confusion, and a pervasive heaviness that convinced them they were simply not meant for wealth. Yet simply by applying this 30-second prayer correctly and practicing it with unwavering consistency, they gradually evolved into people who not only no longer needed to borrow, but were able to generously give and lift others who were struggling in the very same way they once had. There was no lottery win, no sudden inheritance from a long-lost relative, no empty miracles where cash materialized out of thin air. What fundamentally changed everything was the adoption of a new habit, seemingly small, almost insignificant, a short, potent prayer, spoken at the right moment, with the right attitude for just 7 days, then 21 days, then 40 days. The long-term economic resilience of communities, often observed in the face of historical adversity, frequently traces back to such deep-seated practices of internal fortitude and declaration, transforming individual destiny and, in turn, collective prosperity. I have walked alongside more than a dozen individuals whose lives were reshaped by this simple yet profound practice. These weren't lazy people, nor were they irresponsible. They were trapped in an invisible pattern, a silent sabotage that fed on itself. The more they borrowed, the more dependent they became. The more dependent, the weaker they felt. The weaker they felt, the easier it became to ask for money again. This wasn't a moral failing. It was a deeply ingrained behavioral loop, a self-fulfilling prophecy of scarcity. I want you to understand something clearly. What I'm sharing with you today is not some fictional story plucked from the internet. This isn't a collection of inspiring paragraphs you listen to once and then forget. For over 3,000 years, from generation to generation, many of the world's most prosperous Jewish families have quietly, meticulously passed down prayers and declarations specifically related to money, dignity, and divine provision. They don't loudly advertise their methods. They don't parade their wealth on television. But the results are undeniable, a silent testament to principles that defy conventional understanding. An enormous, disproportionate amount of the world's wealth often lies in the hands of those who understand and diligently practice these esoteric principles. Take a moment to truly ponder this. How can a community that has endured unimaginable war, forced exile, relentless persecution, and systematic confiscation of property continually rise, again, rebuild wealth from scratch, control significant financial flows, and consistently create powerful businesses, banks, and corporations? Is this merely a coincidence of history? Or are they applying certain specific principles that the rest of the world is simply never taught, never exposed, to never even considers? One of the core foundational truths they embody is this: using the mouth to declare provision and sovereignty, instead of using it to beg, to borrow, or to lower oneself into a position of subservience. This isn't about ethnocentrism. It's about observing the power of strategic generational wisdom in action, a quiet geopolitical force woven into daily life. In ancient texts such as the Babylonian Talmud, particularly within the section known as Nedarim, the intricate laws surrounding borrowing and divine provision are described with chilling clarity and precision. Later revered sages like Maimonides emphasized a truth that should shock anyone awake. Financial dignity is not some exclusive gift reserved for a chosen few, for those born into privilege or luck. No, financial dignity is a basic fundamental right tied to every single person who knows how to stand upright and dares to use their own mouth to declare true independence. When you open your mouth to ask for money, it may appear to be a temporary immediate solution to a pressing problem. But at a far deeper unseen level, it is a potent declaration: I cannot manage my own life. I am dependent. And that declaration, repeated over and over, begins to program your brain, your emotions, and your entire energetic field towards dependency, slowly eroding your self-sufficiency. I am not saying this to blame you or to inflict further shame. My intention is to illuminate an incredibly encouraging, liberating truth. If words have bound you, then, with the same unparalleled power, words can also free you. If your mouth, perhaps unknowingly, created a reality of ceaseless debt, then with that very same mouth, you possess the innate power to create an entirely new reality of abundant provision. The 30-second Jewish prayer I am about to share with you is the first crucial key that unlocks that new door, that gateway to a transformed financial future. But before I place that sacred key into your hand, I must be certain that you are truly, unequivocally ready. This is not merely an experiment to try it just to see. This is a profound journey to restore your financial dignity, your autonomy, your inherent power. If you are watching or reading this right now, I want you to take a small yet incredibly meaningful action. Subscribe to the Financial Miracle Prayers channel right now. Let this be the very first tangible mark of your unwavering decision to transform your financial life forever. Subscribe. Not because this channel desperately needs another subscriber, but because you need a sacred space, a daily reminder, a communal anchor to imprint into your subconscious mind that you were not born to be a slave to debt, to live in constant anxiety, or to feel the sting of shame. No, you were born to walk tall with dignity in the boundless provision of heaven. In the next part, I will delve deeper into the exact nature of this prayer, explaining precisely why it takes only 30 seconds, yet reaches the deepest, most foundational layers of your consciousness and energy. I will reveal how you can practice it every single morning in a simple, clear, and non-vague way, dispelling any confusion. But right now, I need you to ask yourself one very direct, unyielding question, looking deep into your own heart. Are you truly willing to live another year, another 3 years, another 5 years, trapped in the same cycle you are in now? The endless borrowing messages, the awkward, humiliating phone calls, the sleepless nights consumed by worry. If the answer resonating in your heart with every fiber of your being is a resounding no, then stay here. Commit to this transformative journey. Walk with me and with the growing Financial Miracle Prayers community, because from this precise moment forward, you are no longer alone in the relentless fight against debt. We will begin with the hidden, dormant power embedded in every single word you speak each morning. This is the turning point at dawn. 30 seconds to awaken the dormant flow of abundant finances. Let me say this with unwavering strength and crystal clear clarity, so your very heart vibrates the moment you grasp it. Every morning you awaken, you are not simply starting a new day. You are in that instant restarting the financial destiny of your entire life. And do you know what's most astonishing? Just 30 seconds each morning, precisely 30 seconds, can effortlessly place you into the powerful stream of provision you once believed only lucky people, or those born into privilege, could ever hope to touch. I want you to vividly imagine this scenario. One morning you open your eyes. Instead of instinctively reaching for your phone to check that dreaded bank balance, instead of sighing deeply as the crushing weight of impending rent or overdue bills descends upon you, instead of allowing worry to hit you with full force before you even get out of bed, you rise. You stand by the window, letting the first gentle light of the day touch your face, and with unwavering conviction, you declare a prayer that lasts only 30 seconds. Yet it is enough to fundamentally shift the financial direction of your entire day, your week, and gradually your entire life. I am not weaving illusions to lull you into a false sense of hope. I am speaking from undeniable real-world evidence I have witnessed with my own eyes. People who were tightly trapped in suffocating borrowing cycles, repeatedly needing $500, $300, even just a few dozen dollars each time, stood up again, not through massive windfalls or sudden career changes, but simply through one small, consistent habit, reciting this 30-second Jewish prayer before doing anything else in the morning. Do you perceive the truly remarkable aspect here? This is not a get-rich-quick secret that promises instant, effortless wealth. It's not some financial trick or a fleeting fast money hack. This isn't empty theory or a vague philosophical concept. This is about activating the precise frequency where your mind, your spoken words, and your energetic field align perfectly in the direction of divine provision. And when that frequency is dialed in, correctly, consistently, money begins finding its way to you through paths you could never have possibly imagined or engineered yourself. I want you to be fully prepared for this. It's not complicated to execute, but it is powerful enough that you should know this beforehand. Once you truly begin this practice, you will no longer be the same person. Before we delve deeper into the exact instructions, I want you to pause for a moment and feel this penetrating question. Why does your morning always almost inevitably begin with worry? Let's take a painfully honest look at your current habits. Because patterns define destiny. You wake up, your hand instinctively reaches for your phone. You check your bank balance, and a wave of anxiety washes over you. You silently tell yourself, another day of fighting just to survive. And in that instant, you plant the potent seed of scarcity deep into your mind within the very first 10 seconds of the day. Does that sound familiar? And because it's so familiar, so ingrained, you don't even realize you are actively programming your own brain to perpetually live in lack, to constantly brace yourself for a struggle that you are inadvertently summoning. Here is what modern neuroscience has proven undeniably. And repeatedly the brain reacts with extreme potency and impressionability to what you say, what you think, and what you feel. The exact moment you wake up, every single word you speak in the morning is a direct command sent straight into your nervous system, instructing your brain whether today you are someone lacking or someone provided for, someone passive or someone empowered, someone pushed towards anxiety or someone lifted towards opportunity. And the most wonderful, liberating thing about this is that you can completely, unequivocally change that command in just 30 seconds. That is precisely why the Jewish prayer I am sharing with you has survived for over 3,000 years, not because it is merely mystical or superstitious, but because it strikes directly at the psychological, energetic, and spiritual core structure of the human being. It aligns with universal principles of manifestation, But before we enter that sacred prayer itself, I want to tell you something that the most prosperous Jewish families have known, protected and passed down from generation to generation. They never, under any circumstances, allow the first unguarded moments of the day to be taken over by fear, by worry, or by external circumstances. They never permit their minds to activate scarcity mode. They never begin the day by saying, "Not enough, too hard, I'm short of money again." Instead, they practice what they call the morning declaration of provision. You might be thinking these are just words, simple sounds. But the profound truth is morning words are like powerful programming commands for your subconscious and the energetic field around you. If you enter the day with the right command, you proactively summon the right opportunities. If you start with the wrong one, scarcity will find its way to you, not because of some cruel twist of fate, but because you literally energetically called it in. Now I want you to open your heart, silence any internal skepticism, and listen with extreme care. I am not simply sharing an abstract principle with you. I am leading you into a very clear, highly specific, and deeply transformative practice. One that you can use yourself to create undeniable transformation in your financial life. Remember this foundational truth: what you speak, you will ultimately see. What you declare, you will eventually become. In the precise moment you release this 30-second prayer in the morning, you are sending a potent signal, not only to your own brain, but to the entire energetic world around you. I am no longer the one who begs. I am the one who receives provision. And the universe, in its infinite wisdom, responds exactly that way. It aligns to your new declared identity. I want you to vividly imagine this. One morning you stand at your window, the soft early light gently touching your face, and you say with full conviction, "Today, I am a channel of abundant provision." Money comes to me without needing to beg, without lowering myself. I receive it because I am worthy and aligned. In that powerful moment, something happens that your physical eyes cannot yet perceive. A spiritual and energetic door swings open, and the flow of finances, of opportunities, of unexpected resources begins to move towards you. Not money falling instantly into your hand like magic, but you becoming the kind of person that money, that opportunities, that collaborations actively seek out. I want you to truly feel that difference. It is subtle, yes, but it is profoundly real. And it is the exact turning point. When you shift your fundamental position from the desperate asker to the confident receiver, you instantly place yourself into a new financial reality, one that aligns with your elevated declaration. This is precisely why prosperous Jewish families consistently declare in the morning rather than complain. And this is also why I want you to walk closely with the Financial Miracle Prayers community. Not just to listen, not just to gain knowledge, but to be powerfully reminded each day that money does not flow to the fearful or the passive. It flows to those who boldly declare. If you haven't yet subscribed to the Financial Miracle Prayers channel right now, as your first act of profound commitment to yourself, we are building a sacred space for people who genuinely want to step out of the endless cycle of borrowing and step into the boundless flow of provision. A place where you don't just listen, you practice, you transform, and you begin to see undeniable life-altering results. In the next part, I will reveal to you why these 3 simple sentences can imprint into your brain like an unstoppable new command. I will explain why these powerful declarations must be spoken at dawn, and how just 7 days of consistent practice can literally rewrite your financial habits for the rest of your life. Get ready, because from this moment on, you will never look at your mornings the same way again. I promise you that with absolute certainty. The secret shift that turns financial chaos into divine alignment is not complex. Listen to me carefully, because what you're about to read may hit your soul with the force of a truth you've been subtly, perhaps unknowingly avoiding for years. Financial struggle, the constant gnawing anxiety, the draining humiliation of having to borrow again and again, time after time. None of that is truly caused by money itself. That, my friend, is the pervasive lie you've been taught subtly or overtly your entire life. Debt is not primarily born from the absence of money. Debt is born from the insidious presence of a dangerous verbal pattern, a subconscious script you've unknowingly repeated for years, perhaps even decades. And today, I'm going to expose that pattern with such searing clarity that you will never be able to speak the same way again. Because once you understand this profound truth, your financial reality will never again have permission to stay the same. Let me hook you with this one potent line that could instantly change everything you thought you knew. You have not been trapped by your external circumstances. You have been trapped by your internal declarations. Every "I don't have enough," every "I need to borrow," every "I'm short again this month," became a powerful command your mind obediently obeyed. Your energy mirrored, and your life inevitably manifested. And here's the brutal, undeniable truth that most gurus will never tell you: your mouth, through its declarations of lack, has been financing your struggles far more effectively than your income ever has. I know that sounds confronting, even shocking, but stay with me, because understanding this may very well be the precise moment everything clicks into place for you. Your words, more than any external factor, shape your financial identity long before any paycheck ever arrives. And your financial identity, above all else, determines your financial destiny. This is why asking for money, no matter how temporary or urgent it may seem, creates a deep, insidious, long-term wound in your self-worth. You delude yourself into thinking you're just borrowing cash, a mere transactional exchange. But what you are actually borrowing, at a far deeper subconscious level, is powerlessness, while simultaneously giving away a piece of your inherent dignity every single time you make that plea. Let me pull you deeper into this uncomfortable truth, because avoiding it won't save you. Facing it head-on will liberate you. Let's talk about Carolina Mendez, a 38-year-old single mother from Mexico City. She was hardworking, fiercely devoted to her children, responsible, the kind of woman who fights tooth and nail for her kids every single day. And yet every month without fail, she fell short by the exact same agonizing amount: 800 pesos. Always 800. She absolutely hated borrowing. She swore to herself she'd never do it again. But life, with its relentless demands, kept cornering her. Bills didn't care about her intentions. Deadlines didn't wait for her next paycheck. And so, with shaking hands and tears she always hid from her children, she sent the same humiliating text: "Can you help me with some money until I get paid?" Every time she hit send, something vital inside her dimmed. Something in her inherent dignity shattered, and she felt it acutely. She once told me, tears streaming down her face, "It's like I lose a piece of myself every single time I ask." Her story feels painfully familiar, doesn't it? Because even if you've never spoken it aloud, you've felt that same internal crack, that small but deeply embedded wound that whispers, "You're failing. You can't handle this. You're not enough." You don't need someone to explain that pain to you. You've lived it. Now here's where it gets even more shocking, revealing the biological roots of this struggle. A groundbreaking Stanford University study, published as recently as 2023, revealed something that should shake anyone awake. A staggering 82% of people who repeatedly borrow money develop actual, measurable neurological patterns of dependency. Not merely emotional dependency, not just financial reliance, but literal physical brain rewiring. Your brain becomes neurologically addicted to external rescue, addicted to short-term relief, addicted to the insidious idea that someone else or some external source is always the solution. And like any addiction, it becomes invisible, a deeply ingrained habit, a silent reflex, a subconscious sabotage that holds you captive. This isn't just behavioral. It's a structural change in your brain's operating system, influencing decision-making in ways you're not even aware of. So if you've borrowed money more than 3 times this past year, the chances that your brain has already been rewired towards financial dependency are frighteningly high. This is precisely why you feel stuck. This is why no matter how hard you work, how many extra hours you put in, you still seem to end up short. This is why opportunities appear to slip right past you, just out of reach. Your mind has been insidiously programmed to repeat the loop of lack, and your words have been the powerful programming language, cementing this reality. Now let me show you something even deeper, something ancient wisdom understood profoundly long before modern science finally caught up. The Babylonian Talmud in Nedarim 41a states with chilling clarity a truth that transcends mere human understanding. One who borrows becomes a slave to the lender. This is not mere poetry. This is not some abstract metaphor. This is spiritual physics, a universal immutable law of cause and effect. Borrowing doesn't enslave your finances first. It subtly, powerfully enslaves your identity, your self-image, your energetic posture in the world. And the very moment your identity shifts into the one who needs your entire life, your circumstances, your opportunities begin rearranging themselves around that specific vibration, confirming your new self-perception. You've undoubtedly heard of the law of attraction. But what you've almost certainly never been taught is this: the law responds far more powerfully to your words than to your silent wishes or fleeting desires. You can dream of abundance all day long. You can visualize immense wealth all week. But if your mouth keeps speaking lack, keeps declaring scarcity, then you are by your own decree declaring lack as your master, as your governing reality. This is where the profound insights of the Jewish mystics, the Kabbalistic scholars, revealed a truth most people in the modern world will never hear. Speaking lack is not merely describing your present reality. It is actively, powerfully creating it. And speaking abundance is not mere wishful thinking or naive optimism. It is activating divine provision, bringing it into manifest reality. Words are not just sounds, my friend. Words are potent frequencies, and frequencies by universal law attract their own kind. This is precisely why the 30-second morning prayer is so incredibly powerful. It interrupts years, sometimes decades, of negative scarcity-driven programming. It cancels the old self-imposed decrees of lack. It redefines your identity at dawn, at the precise moment when your subconscious mind is most open, most pliable, and most receptive to new instructions. When you speak these sacred lines in the morning, you aren't just praying in a conventional sense. You're issuing a divine declaration, a spiritual command, a neurological reset, a vibrational alignment that resonates through your entire being and outward into the universe. And once your words, your identity, and your energy shift, your life must follow. It cannot resist. It cannot disobey. It cannot stay the same. The very fabric of your reality will be compelled to align with your new declaration. Let me give you another story, because repetition carves truth into your heart. Roberto Vasquez, a 51-year-old entrepreneur, a visionary with big dreams, hardworking and inherently hopeful. Yet every single month, like clockwork, he found himself borrowing $1,000 just to keep his small business barely breathing. Nobody trusted him enough to invest. Not because he lacked talent, not because his ideas weren't brilliant or innovative, but because no one puts long-term faith in someone who consistently needs short-term rescue every few weeks. Eventually, his business's pride collapsed, his confidence shattered, his self-worth evaporated, not because he deserved failure, but because he unknowingly lived inside a verbal identity of deficiency, broadcasting a signal of perpetual need to the world. And if this story is striking a nerve in you, if you're feeling that uncomfortable recognition in your chest, that's good. It means you're waking up to a deeper truth. But here's the turning point. Here's the powerful hope that people never seem to tell you. The prison of debt and lack was built by your words, so your profound freedom can also be built by your words. You are not trapped forever. You are not doomed to endless debt. You are not destined to repeat the same agonizing month after month, year after year. You can break it. And not slowly, not painfully, not over decades of struggle. You can break it fast, swiftly, by shifting the very pattern that created the prison in the first place. That is why the 30-second prayer works with such surgical precision. That is why it has survived 3,000 years of human history passed down through generations. That is why families who consistently practice it continue to rise, continue to rebuild wealth, even in times of war, famine, exile, and persecution, because it fundamentally rewires the mind. It resets the identity. It reopens the channel of divine provision that fear and scarcity had long blocked. This is the moment you stop apologizing for wanting more than mere survival. This is the moment you stop endlessly explaining your lack. This is the moment you stop bending your inherent dignity simply to survive another day. And if you're truly ready, if something deep inside you is now whispering, enough is enough, then stay close, stay committed, stay open. The next part of this journey will show you exactly how the morning declaration works, how it meticulously rewrites your self-worth, how it actively dismantles the insidious dependency pattern, and how it opens the gates of financial flow with divine precision. And when you are ready to step fully, unequivocally, into this profound transformation, subscribe to Financial Miracle Prayers, not as a mere formality, but as your very first powerful declaration that you are choosing a new financial identity, one of abundance and provision. This is your moment. This is your awakening. Let's walk into the breakthrough together. The 3,000-year law of morning declaration, that the wealthy never break. I want you to take a deep cleansing breath, because what you're about to read is not just another piece of advice. It is one of the most fiercely protected financial secrets in human history. And if you allow it, if you truly let it penetrate your understanding, this single truth has the power to lift you out of the debilitating financial patterns you've been trapped in for years, perhaps even decades. Here is the hook you need to feel in your bones, to grasp with every fiber of your being. The wealthiest, most resilient families in Jewish history didn't rise to prominence because of sheer luck, inherent talent, or favorable circumstances. They rose because of an immutable universal law they never ever break. And that law, in its potent simplicity, is this: what you declare with your mouth, spoken aloud each morning, becomes the fundamental architecture of your financial destiny. This isn't merely motivational fluff. This isn't a pretty feel-good quote designed for social media. This isn't about think positive and money appears. No. This is a 3,000-year-old spiritual technology, meticulously passed from parent to child, whispered across generations, practiced diligently at dawn by some of the most financially resilient people on earth. And today, by divine design or sheer synchronicity, it reaches you. Do not take this truth lightly. You are currently standing in front of a door that billions will never even know exists. Most people will live and die without ever hearing this profound truth even once. So before we go any further, I need you to stay with me fully, heart open, mind alert, because when a secret this powerful enters your life, you either honor it with action or you tragically lose it to the winds of forgetfulness. Let's begin with a truth that very few people, especially in the financial world, have the courage to say out loud. The fundamental difference between those who consistently rise financially and those who perpetually remain in struggle often comes down to one singular thing: what their mouth actively creates before the sun even fully rises. Now let me take you deeper into this ancient wisdom. For more than 3,000 years, Jewish families have meticulously taught their children that the first 30 seconds after waking are not merely important or helpful, they are sacred. Why? Because the mind at that precise moment is unguarded, open, and incredibly programmable. Whatever thoughts, whatever words, whatever declarations enter your consciousness during those first few breaths of a new day becomes the indelible template for that day. And that day in turn becomes the template for the week. The week morphs into the template for the month, and the month ultimately becomes the blueprint for your entire life. This is why Jewish tradition, with extreme seriousness, warns, never under any circumstances let the morning begin with fear, with lack, or with complaint. To do so is to, by your own words, write scarcity directly into your fate, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of limitation. So instead they begin with something radically different. They begin with a bold declaration of divine provision, spoken out loud with conviction. This is a spoken command to the universe, a verbal contract sealed with abundance. It's not a prayer of begging, not a plea for mercy, not a desperate request for a miracle. It is a powerful decree, a financial alignment, spoken with the unwavering authority of a child of God, inherently deserving of abundance. And here is the part that should hit you like a clap of thunder, shaking your perception of wealth. The truly wealthy don't just work differently. They speak differently. They decree differently. They program their subconscious differently. Before they even think to check their phone, before they glance at their bank accounts, before they allow their minds to be consumed by bills or deadlines, they stand in the early light of morning and speak prosperity into existence. There's no wondering, no hoping, no doubting, no tentative wishes, just unwavering declaration. The great Rabbi Maimonides taught that true financial dignity isn't a privilege reserved for the chosen few. It is an inherent right for every human being. But that right, he clarified, is only activated by the mouth, through intentional conscious declarations, never through begging, even when disguised as borrowing. Think about how revolutionary that concept is. Your financial dignity is not primarily determined by your background, your current income, or your powerful connections. It is fundamentally determined by your declarations, by the words that proceed from your mouth. Your mouth is the switch. Your words are the voltage. Your morning is the ultimate power source. This is why the Talmud states so boldly in Nedarim, the one who borrows becomes the slave of the lender. Most people take this as a straightforward warning about financial dependency. But the true masters, the inheritors of this ancient wisdom, understood something far deeper. It's not just your money that becomes enslaved. It's your voice, your identity, your spiritual posture in the world. Borrowing forces your mouth into a position of inherent weakness and supplication. Declaring abundance, conversely, brings your mouth back into its rightful position of authority and sovereignty. One bends your dignity, the other powerfully restores it. This is the spiritual technology that has shaped countless Jewish dynasties through periods of war, exile, persecution, famine, and arduous rebuilding. Generation after generation, they return to the same immutable principle. Declare abundance early, consistently, and abundance will inevitably find you. and they have lived this truth quietly, consistently, relentlessly. No flashy motivational speeches, no fleeting social media trends, just dawn declarations repeated daily until they form an impenetrable spiritual shield around their finances, guiding them through every economic storm. Let me show you precisely why this spiritual technology works with such surgical precision, not just spiritually, but as modern science now confirms neurologically. Neuroscience confirms what mystics knew centuries ago. The subconscious mind is most open, most pliable, and most receptive during the critical transition from deep sleep to full wakefulness. Whatever you speak, whatever you declare, at that precise moment, bypasses your conscious mind's resistance and writes itself directly into your internal programming, deep into your very being. Think of it like etching words into wet concrete. Once it hardens, the indelible imprint remains unshakable. This is exactly why random affirmations repeated at arbitrary times during the day don't work for most people. But declarations spoken at dawn, in that sacred, unguarded state, can literally change an entire identity. And identity, my friend, is everything. Identity shapes decisions. Decisions shape habits. Habits shape destiny. This is what the world's wealthiest, most resilient families understood profoundly long before science ever caught up. If you deliberately rewrite the identity, the finances, the opportunities, the entire life experience will follow automatically. This brings us to the critical turning point you need to hear now, more than ever. You cannot truly rise financially until you break the deeply ingrained identity of the borrower. You cannot break that identity silently, with mere wishing or hoping. It must be broken out loud with force, with unwavering intention, with consistent repetition. That is precisely what the 30-second prayer does. Not metaphorically, but literally. It cracks the old limiting identity. It plants a new empowering one. It reopens the divine channel of provision that your fears, your past experiences, and your limiting beliefs have been blocking for years. Imagine starting your day not with a question of survival. How am I going to survive this month? But with a powerful resonant declaration that vibrates through your entire being. I am a vessel of divine provision. Money comes to me without begging, without shame, without fear. I am aligned with abundance. Do you feel the profound difference in that declaration? Because your spirit does, your body does, your future does. This is why I need you to understand how serious, how vital this practice is. Once you begin consistently using the morning declaration, you are stepping into a powerful lineage, a stream of profound power that has shaped some of the most resilient, wealthy, and unstoppable families in all of human history. This is not hype, my friend. This is heritage, a spiritual inheritance that is now, by divine appointment, being placed directly into your hands. And before we continue, I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself with brutal honesty, are you willing to let your mornings remain ordinary, mundane, and scarcity-driven? Or will you choose with courage and conviction to turn them into a sacred portal of profound financial transformation? If you're ready to step deeper into this ancient practice and join thousands of others on the same path, subscribe to Financial Miracle Prayers not as a casual click, but as a deep soul-level declaration that you are ready to walk in the same spiritual laws that have built dynasties. In the next section, you will discover the exact 30-second morning prayer itself and why every single word is deliberately surgically crafted to break the chain of debt and fling open the gates of divine provision that have been patiently waiting for you to speak them into existence. Your breakthrough is close. Stay with me. The invisible battle inside your mind that keeps you broke. Read this next lines slowly, deliberately, allowing it to penetrate every fiber of your being. Because it may well be the single most important financial truth you've ever encountered in your entire life. Your greatest financial enemy has never ever been debt itself. It has always been your morning identity. Not your job, not the economy, not your family background, not even the country you live in. It has always unfailingly been the identity you unconsciously slip into during the first 30 seconds of your day. And here is the hook that cuts straight to the bone, revealing a profound, overlooked truth. If your very first thoughts, the moment you wake up, are dominated by fear, by lack, or by panic, then you are already losing the financial battle before you even have a chance to get out of bed. You don't lose at noon. You don't lose when the bills arrive. You don't lose when emergencies hit. You lose at dawn, because that is the precise moment your brain is most open, most impressionable, most receptive to programming. And most people tragically let scarcity walk right in and take command. Now let me take you deeper than you've ever been taken before. I want to pull back the curtain and show you the real battlefield, the neuro-spiritual programming inside your unconscious mind. You think you're struggling financially because you're not earning enough. You think you're stuck because life is inherently unfair. You think your problems originate from external circumstances, from the outside world. But that, my friend, is not the real reason. Not even close. The profound hidden reason is this: your subconscious mind has been meticulously programmed to expect lack, and it dutifully, consistently keeps recreating what it expects, drawing it into your reality. This isn't abstract philosophy. This isn't mere guesswork. This is hard empirical neuroscience. A groundbreaking study from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem in 2024 revealed something astonishing. Repeatedly speaking phrases of financial dependence, phrases like, "I don't have enough," "I need to borrow," "I can't afford this," actively physically activates the prefrontal cortex region, responsible for submission, for external reliance, and for a diminished sense of agency. Do you truly understand the immense weight, the profound implication of that finding? It means that every time you consciously or unconsciously utter those words, "I don't have enough," "I need to borrow," "I can't afford this," your brain literally physically wires itself to remain perpetually dependent on external rescue. You are, in effect, teaching your own brain to constantly look outside yourself for solutions instead of generating abundance from within. You are training your mind to surrender instead of generating wealth and opportunity. You're reinforcing inherent weakness instead of activating your innate strength. And once those neural pathways of dependency are formed, they become automatic, unconscious, invisible, guiding your behavior without your explicit awareness. You begin living in a loop you didn't consciously choose, a loop you don't want, a loop you don't benefit from, but a loop your brain now perceives as safe, as familiar, as its default setting. You can work harder, you can get a raise, you can take on extra shifts, you can even sell possessions. But as long as the subconscious mind is wired for lack, your life will always subtly find ways to bring you back to lack, creating circumstances that confirm its deeply ingrained program. This is precisely why people who suddenly receive a windfall of money often lose it just as quickly. This is why you can experience a significant breakthrough only for something to mysteriously go wrong right afterward, bringing you back to square one. This is why you can climb up a little bit, only to fall back to the same familiar, uncomfortable place. It's not cruel fate, my friend. It's programming. And here is the profound truth most people never hear in their entire lifetime. You cannot escape a financial identity of lack using effort alone. You must break the identity with your voice. Your voice is the only tool powerful enough to override the subconscious programming. Your voice carries inherent authority. Your silent thoughts, as potent as they are, do not carry the same commanding weight. Your voice sends direct commands that your brain, your nervous system, and the energetic field around you must obey. This is precisely why ancient Jewish tradition places so much immense weight on spoken declarations. Not whispered, not merely imagined, not meditated in silence, but spoken out loud with conviction. Because what you speak becomes what you are becoming, the blueprint for your manifest reality. Let me show you how deep this goes. For over 3,000 years, Jewish mystics taught that words create worlds, not metaphorically but literally. Every word you utter carries a unique vibration. Every vibration carries a specific intention, and every intention, when amplified by consistent declaration, carries the power of manifestation. This is why the morning is so critically important. The veil between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind is thinnest, most permeable at dawn. Whatever you speak at that moment enters directly into your internal operating system, bypassing conscious resistance before the mental defenses, the doubts, and the fears have a chance to rise. The problem is, most people inadvertently start their morning with the worst possible declarations, complaints, stress, fear, exhaustion, the weight of bills, anxiety, and a flood of general negativity. Imagine opening your front door and purposefully letting a thief walk into your house every single morning, unimpeded. That's precisely what most people do with their words. But wealthy Jewish households do something radically different, something so profoundly powerful, so consistently effective, that it has transformed generations of ordinary people into families of immense influence and unwavering abundance. They begin every single morning with powerful declarations of divine provision, not begging, not asking, not hoping, but declaring. They speak abundance into existence before seeing abundance. They speak provision before receiving provision. They speak prosperity before prosperity physically arrives. And what they speak, they eventually inevitably see, because spiritually, mentally, energetically, and neurologically, your words are the fundamental blueprint for your financial reality. Now let me show you why this matters for you right now. You, my friend, have been living with a blueprint for your financial life that was not designed for abundance. It was a blueprint painstakingly built from fierce struggle, from mere survival. A blueprint shaped by your past, by your upbringing, by your past emergencies, your hardships, your borrowing history, and your disappointments. But here is the life-changing truth, the profound revelation that can set you free. You can rewrite that entire blueprint fundamentally, profoundly, in just 30 seconds each morning. This is precisely what the 30-second prayer is designed to do. Not just to inspire you for a fleeting moment, but to actively overwrite the old limiting programming, to meticulously carve a new empowering neural pathway, to deliberately build a new abundant identity, to flip the fundamental switch from lack to overflowing provision. Imagine a version of you who wakes up not burdened by the thought, "How will I survive this month?" but instead declares with unwavering conviction, "Today, money flows to me without begging, without fear, without shame. I am a magnet for abundance." Imagine a version of you whose very first words in the morning are powerful commands of abundance, not reactive statements of scarcity. Imagine a version of you whose finances shift dramatically, not because some external luck suddenly changed, but because your identity fundamentally, irrevocably changed. That version of you is not far away, not distant, not unreachable in some distant future. That version of you begins the precise moment you take conscious, authoritative control of your morning voice. And that moment is coming because in the very next section I will reveal the exact 30-second prayer itself, word for word, syllable by syllable. The same sacred prayer passed down through generations for thousands of years. The same prayer that has broken countless chains of debt. The same prayer that has lifted entire families out of crippling financial dependence. The same prayer that is about to enter your hands and your mouth. Prepare yourself, because once you speak this prayer, once you align with its power, you simply cannot return to the person you were before. Your identity will shift. Your mind will shift. Your energy will shift. Your entire financial path will shift. Stay with me. The breakthrough is rapidly approaching. The legend of the 40-day transformation, when an ancient prayer rewrites a modern life. What you are about to read isn't mere motivation. It isn't abstract theory. It isn't just a feel-good story. What you're about to read is undeniable raw human evidence that the 30-second ancient prayer doesn't just inspire or uplift. It actively, powerfully interferes with a person's predetermined destiny and literally rewrites it. And I want you to read every single word of this part with your full, undivided attention, because one day, very soon, you're going to recognize your own miraculous story within the lines of someone else's profound transformation. Here's the hook that hits with the force of destiny, a truth that will resonate deep within your spirit. Sometimes the greatest miracle is not the sudden influx of money itself. The true profound miracle is who you become when you finally stop begging for it. Now, let me take you into one of the most striking, most undeniable stories I've ever personally witnessed. Her name is Sarah Goldstein, 44 years old, a textile merchant in a small, bustling market in Buenos Aires. Not a CEO, not a financial expert with advanced degrees, not someone with massive savings, powerful connections, or inherited privileges. Just a resilient woman, desperately trying to keep her small business alive, month after agonizing month. And every single month, without fail, she repeated the same exhausting, soul-crushing cycle. Borrow money to buy merchandise, sell the merchandise to pay off the debt, end up with no capital whatsoever, and then, inevitably, borrow again. A perfect, insidious circle of dependency. A loop that never broke. A treadmill that never stopped, no matter how hard she ran. Perhaps you too know exactly how that feels, running with all your strength, giving everything you have, but ultimately going nowhere. Now, here is where destiny intervened, dramatically shifting her trajectory. Her grandmother, a wise 92-year-old woman, lying on her deathbed, called Sarah close, and with a trembling voice, whispered something the family had kept as a sacred secret for generations. The exact same 30-second morning prayer you and I are now discussing. This wasn't abstract theory. This was a tangible, real prayer, taught with fragile, trembling hands by a woman who had survived war, unimaginable scarcity, profound loss, and had rebuilt her life from absolute zero, multiple times over. Her grandmother meticulously instructed her word for word, exactly how to say it, how to breathe before speaking it, the precise moment to speak it, why it only works if the morning light touches your face, why it must be spoken out loud and not silently, and why the consistent repetition transforms the spirit first, before it ever transforms the wallet. Sarah, at rock bottom, had absolutely nothing left to lose. She had cried too many nights in silent despair. She had begged too many times, feeling her dignity erode. Her heart had been humiliated more than enough. So she did something most people never do. She obeyed the instruction exactly as it was given, without question, without modification. 30 seconds every single morning, before checking her phone, before speaking to anyone, before touching money, before allowing fear to penetrate her mind. And she did it not for 3 days, not for 7 days, but for 40 consecutive days, without missing a single morning. Now listen closely, because what happened next wasn't subtle. It wasn't symbolic. It wasn't merely psychological. It was dramatic, undeniable, and transformative. Within those 40 ordinary days, her entire financial atmosphere shifted irrevocably. Sarah Goldstein stopped borrowing money entirely, completely. A large corporate client out of nowhere contacted her for a massive bulk order, the kind she had only dreamed of. A prominent department store, unprompted, offered her a permanent supply contract, securing her business for years. She earned $4,000, then $2,000, then $6,000 extra in unexpected income, without chasing, without begging, without forcing anything. Opportunities, tangible and undeniable, began arriving at her door faster than she could even respond to them. And here's the part that always gives people chills, that validates this ancient wisdom. She didn't ask for any of it. It came looking for her. Do you truly understand what that means? The profound implication of that shift. Her energy changed before her finances did. Her identity changed before her income did. Her morning declarations changed before her entire reality did. This is the core truth most people tragically never realize. Money follows shifts in identity. Opportunities follow shifts in declaration. Provision follows shifts in energy. And the 30-second prayer is surgically designed to shift all three. Fast, efficiently, profoundly. Now let me show you the science behind this miracle, because this isn't superstition. It's not coincidence. It's pattern. It's immutable law. In 2022, the Tel Aviv University Cognitive Neuroscience Institute released a study that left researchers genuinely stunned. A staggering 78% of participants who consistently practiced specific verbal declarations for 7 consecutive days experienced unexpected financial opportunities, appearing as if from nowhere, without actively seeking them. 78 out of 100 people. Simply by declaring, just by speaking, just by shifting their morning identity. This is why people like Sarah transform so dramatically. This is why ancient prayers guarded for millennia still work with such profound efficacy. This is why your life can shift faster than you think, faster than you've been led to believe. Because at the deepest level, your morning voice is the ultimate steering wheel of your destiny. If you speak lack, if you declare scarcity, your life inevitably bends toward lack. If you speak abundance, if you declare provision, your life consistently bends toward abundance. And when you begin to declare abundance, with the precision of an ancient divinely crafted formula, heaven responds with precision too. This is precisely why the Jewish ancestors guarded these prayers with their very lives. This is why they whispered them, passed them down secretly, instead of publishing them for the masses. This is why only children of the household learned them. This is why they survived war, displacement, persecution, famine, exile, and yet always unfailingly rose again, financially. Not because of luck, not because of inherited privilege, but because of a sacred spiritual technology, tools they activated each morning with their own breath. Tools powerful enough to outlive empires, tools strong enough to lift a struggling merchant into a state of supernatural provision. Let me ask you something, and I want you to answer with brutal, unflinching honesty. How many times have you told yourself, "This is just my fate"? How many times have you believed, "This is just how life is for me"? How many times have you convinced yourself, "I'm just not the kind of person who gets ahead financially"? Those thoughts didn't come from God. They came from programming. They came from survival mode. They came from mornings spent in the frequency of fear, instead of the empowering frequency of abundance. But Sarah's story exists for one reason alone, to show you that nothing is final. Nothing is fixed. Nothing is permanently etched in stone. Identity can be rewritten. Energy can be recalibrated. Destiny can be redirected. If a woman trapped in a generational loop of debt can break it with just 30 seconds each morning, then what about you? What profound shifts could unfold for you? What miracles are already lined up patiently, waiting for your identity to finally match them? This is your moment to stop believing that transformation only happens to special people. This is your moment to realize it happens to the obedient, to the consistent, to the brave, to those who declare instead of beg. You are standing at the same doorway Sarah stood, at a doorway thousands before you have walked through, a doorway into a version of your life where you do not chase money. Money chases you. And what comes next, the prayer itself, is the key that opens that door. In the next section, you will learn the exact structure of the morning ritual, the posture, the breath, the light, the timing, and the precise words that have survived over 30 centuries. Prepare yourself. Your life is about to turn from repetition into revelation.